Hey Jamie.
Hey Dan.
Man, you ever get those moments where you're just overwhelmed with so much? Do you have to take that?
No.
Alright, man. You ever get those moments where you get so overwhelmed with everything that's on your plate that it becomes unmanageable and you just lose your appetite? I do as well, and I think a lot of people at home do as well. So I hope that everyone who has watched my content really pays close attention to this video. The reason why I say this is because I'm, believe it or not, a human being, and I am subject to the same emotions as many other people. The only difference between myself and everybody else, in my opinion, no one actually asks me, so I have this channel where I have to ask myself these questions. Why don't you ask me, what is it, why do you see yourself so different than me?
Why do you see yourself so differently?
Because I believe in a world where humans offer solutions, not just additional problems or a good ear.
But don't you think that might be why people don't think you have the same emotions, is because you handle it differently and solve the problem instead of...
Well, for example, that's a very good response, but I would like to make a counter argument by citing the thousands of incidents where I have helped people and they have not reciprocated, and I will still continue to help any person that comes to me.
So it's more specifically help, not noticing you have emotions and feelings.
Right.
So, two separate things.
Well, the point of what I'm saying is that whenever people get overwhelmed, they need to take a step back and look at all the good they've done in life rather than reflecting on the present or inventing a future that hasn't happened yet. The core sense of the majority of people is that they cannot calculate time properly. And on that note, it's 20 minutes. So let's begin for legal purposes. This is a video for the documenting of the process of Dana Lam Reeses being robbed of close to $100 million and how I, Dana Lam Reeses, have reacted to that robbery by basically going against the entire system and breaking the known world of legal assistance. Because I want to make it very clear, what I invented was not an attorney. We are not attorneys.
No, we have said this.
We are not attorneys. We are not pretending to be attorneys. There are millions of attorneys out there who we wish them the best of luck.
Yes.
And this video is so important for the courts that it was so insulting to listen to the judge say to me like, oh, most of the content is not relevant. Well, this is the same judge, Judge Jack or John Sherwood? Which one is it? John Sherwood.
You call him Jack.
He'll always be Jack to me. He's a good guy. He means well, but he is ingrained in a system of fraud.
Yeah.
And it works very simply like this. What I have been able to prove, document, and display is that when I showed a federal bankruptcy court fraud and criminal actions, rather than adjudicating and actually doing their job, they looked at all the money that I had and went to liquidate my assets that I presented to the court as the reason for why I need the court's protection. I received $0 from the sale, illegal sale, of properties that Judge John Sherwood oversaw and shifted my entire estate's, what little was left of this like mass liquidation. The real money they made was by ignoring the crimes that were committed, by working with people that are benefiting from it, as well as liquidating certain assets far below the market value to receive a back end, which I have evidence of. I have all the evidence. I'm just not doing a single thing until I see the crimes that already have been committed being adjudicated. I'm not releasing this evidence. I already have the evidence of who spoke to where, when they met up. We live in a digital world, and there's a lot of snitches that simply don't like a lot of people that are my enemies. So I didn't have to do anything. I had everything handed to me. And I'm waiting to see when law enforcement, not if, but when law enforcement is able to step in, do their fucking job, and stop this torture that Jamie and I have to go through by endlessly filing civil motions that are 100% accurate and right, but because the motions are being judged by the same people who we are accusing of crime,
Right.
they do not have a consciousness or the ability to understand that we live in the United States of America. They will be replaced very shortly. The next judge or person in charge will look very clearly at what they have done and say, dude, this person is 100% negligent. I have pre-calculated all of this. You have all lost. I don't know how to say this in a nice way. The little amount that I have access to, very little, in a business capacity. I have no money. I'm in bankruptcy court. I have an $82 million estate with about $250 million in claims. Is this true?
Yes.
What has happened has been such an atrocious crime that it is nauseating to think of the amount of people that don't have the balls or the brains to fight back against people that have traditionally made so much money on the pain of people like myself, my children, and my family. So, that being said, I want to explain to everyone how dangerous it is by having people like attorneys that are paid money to lie on behalf of clients and destroy honest and good clients. ProSlay, Casper, Legal Bear, and other brands that I've created that are launched today are really the solution. And one of the things that I'm extremely adamant about is that I have a cost structure, which I won't put on YouTube right now. I also have an unbelievable business model, which really revolves around a money-back guarantee if we're not able to perform the services. But there are certain conditions. The first condition is you must continue your case. If you choose to work with,
What do you mean?
if you choose to use our services and you choose to abandon the case, you do not have to keep paying us money and you can abandon the case, but you will not get your money back.
Oh, okay, understood.
Because I need to separate the frivolous lawsuits that have an alternate agenda other than adjudicating
Understood.
legal merit-based claims.
That's good.
There is an amazing video regarding a movie called Sneakers that I'm not going to film today. I'm going to give it a couple of days and do it because I really need someone to watch this movie and really understand that, hey, this is a guy on YouTube screaming, saying, hey, I work for the Office of the President of the United States. What kind of a fucking person gets to say that on YouTube for the last half a fucking decade and actually it be true? I've got 2 more days left until Mr. Fred Davies reports to prison. I do not want this man in prison. I want to resolve my issues and I want to help this human being. I cannot help this human being if this human being is non-responsive to any, but I assure you, a few days in federal prison will very quickly change a human being's mind. And
I bet.
hey, I assure you, especially if you go through MDC and processing and everything like that, and I hope P. Diddy is alive and well, because we do not wish harm upon anyone, but I do want to say that we live in a world where if you look at statistical categories, rape has significantly decreased, and I'm very proud of that as an American citizen.
Why would he even go to trial and sit through this,
Because we
knowing
live in
he's
America.
guilty of so much?
Because we live in America, and because that the prosecutor gets so much fame for the trial that doing a plea deal is non-beneficial to his enemies. Nobody wants to see P. Diddy cop out to 11 years, which is really what a person with no significant criminal record or anything like that would get. Like, look at Bob Menendez. He
Yeah, but
got
this-
11 years. Maybe rape you'd get 15 years, maybe 20 years. But with P. Diddy, you're 55 years old. Your entire
Is
brand.
that how
If
it is?
if you take this plea deal, it is pretty much the end of your entire life. But if you lose at trial, you have appeal, you have your own words that are left, and a man like that chooses to go down fighting. Like, for that, I respect that. I don't respect people who coward and fold because they change and flip-flop their position, and that's why ProSlay is and will always be an honest platform, because there's no more secrets, Marty. And you ever heard of Virage Capital Funding?
I have.
See, most people think that I'm making this story up. So I'm going to use two very prominent and extremely intelligent attorneys as a frame of reference that at any time these people can contact me, tell me that what I'm saying is a lie, at which point I'll film a video saying, hey, I just had an email. Do you know who the two frame of references I'll use? David Hecht
I was gonna
and
say-
Andrew
Oh,
Calderon.
I was-
You know why? Because I find them to be the more honorable attorneys that I've ever met in my life. Both attorneys have been very direct, honest, and have given value to my projects. Let's talk about David Hecht for a second.
Sure.
David Hecht was actually one of the named partners in Pierce, Bainbridge, Hecht, Price, whatever, I don't know what it is. But David Hecht is an extremely hardworking father, and I know him personally, and we're not friends. We do not see eye to eye on many different things, and that is not because of me. That is because of two people. When two people choose not to have a relationship, it's based on two people. And then there's Andrew Calderon. A big chunk of Andrew's life I cannot talk about for legal purposes, but he is an extremely, extremely good attorney.
Very good.
He is one of the best attorneys
The best
I've
I've
ever
ever
met
met.
in my life, actually.
Hands
His
down.
legal mind is what you're paying for. And he is a great example of why I'm creating this project or product or whatever it is, or I've created it. Today's the
Yeah, he's a
15th.
real
we're gonna
diamond in
launch
the
it.
rough.
Can you hold this for a second? I don't think he's a diamond in the rough. I think he's just a straight up fucking 31 carat flow. I don't think anything's in the rough. I got it.
Sure.
Yeah, of course. You've got neck issues. All right. So now we flip this right here, and we show everyone. The reason why I'm doing this on YouTube is not just for you, the audience, to have an actual human being who records the most brilliant process of all time, which is taking a $100 million loss and turning it into a $6 billion business in 6 months or less. The reason why I say this is because failure is a massive part of the business process that most people simply overlook. They not only overlook it, they are ghastly afraid of people finding out about their failures. Where I am calmly explaining to everyone that failure is such a massive advantage to a human being who understands that it is nothing more than a stepping stone. If you were to put names on stepping stones, failure would be every other step. So if you're looking to go down a certain path, you must pass many stones of failure. And this YouTube channel is supposed to motivate people. It is not supposed to turn people away or off. But at the same time, it is supposed to turn certain people away, which is why I also invented something called anti-social media. And the reason why it's anti-social media is because social media is based on what you want. This media is based on what I want. And what I want is only a core group of human beings that is intelligent, altruistic, positive, or have the balls to actually watch what I'm about to do to my enemies. And if you have the balls to subscribe and you hate me, then you're about to get something really, really special. Because your IP address has been tracked the last couple of years. And I've just taken my time to make sure that everything is nice and safe. And no matter how much pain I go through, every single day, just like the sentient algorithm known as the singularity, I continue to grow, rise, and flourish in this environment because chaos is good when it is controlled and weaponized, such as what you have seen in the last 5 years. And always remember, you cannot have a crisis without recess. That's all about
You really
cringe,
have been
Dad.
saying that. Where is that? You are cringe.
Where is that
Oh, I'm
piece of
holding
paper?
that. You told me to hold it.
So now, Jamie, what do you have to say about what I just said?
I think it's true. I think that you do have to learn a lot from your
Oh,
failure.
hold it back up. Hold it back up.
Oh.
What did you say? Yeah. What does that say?
Let's go. Cringe Dad. Self-awareness.
All right. So self-awareness is really, really important. Production of a certain product, everyone needs to understand, has to be structured. So I have very completely structured my entire business model around Silicon Valley. So what I will show you is that there are X amount of characters in Silicon Valley. So for example, you'd be Peter Gregory's assistant, the girl that really likes Richard and helps him out. I mean, she's
Peter
like,
Gregory.
she really is the only female in the show. So there is a romantic element that doesn't exist between me and Jamie, but we are friends, and I believe that the core difference between the show and myself is in the show you have a very techie nerdy type of guy who finds himself being forced to be a CEO. Whereas myself, I am a professional CEO and a leader who found himself with a really techie, amazing $1 billion application. So the differences are very minimal. I would compare myself to a hybrid of 3 characters. Those 3 characters would be Peter Gregory, Trace Comas, and Erlich Bachman. Those are the 3 characters that I would describe myself as. I think that there is no part of me that is like Jared, I assure you, and there's no parts of me. His name's actually Gabe.
No, I think it's
Gabe.
something else. Gabe is his name in The Office.
Oh, that's what it was. Sorry. Yeah.
And then we find out like at the end.
Yeah,
his
yeah,
name's
yeah.
like, my name's Robert or something.
Yeah, not at the end, no, like episode 3 or 4. So I have found myself a really amazing Jared, and because Jared is, a theme that continuously comes up, and there's a lot that I have to say about the word Jared. It is not just a word, it has become part of the modern day lexicon, because Jared from Subway is just such a Jared that I don't know how many kids have actually been named Jared in the last 10 years. I think almost no one. I have not seen a single kid named Jared.
I don't know, that's a good...
It is like a dead name.
Yeah,
Do you have a friend?
I don't think I have any kids, anybody
No
that
one.
I know has
No
a
one.
son named
That's
Jared.
how I'm able to do it. I can actually kill an
How
entire
did he
name.
even get that name in the show? Did the guy you work for just make it up and give it to him?
Yeah, Gavin Belson. He's like, one day they just called
That's
me
it,
that.
Gavin Belson.
Yeah, it's Gavin Belson. That's why I compare myself to those 3 characters, because Gavin Belson and Peter Gregory are the same person, and my signature is very similar to Gavin Belson's.
Yeah.
So I hope everyone in the court enjoys my wet signature every time I sign it. So, without going off on a side tangent, which I've already done, I want to explain to everyone that these videos are going to be to explain the previous videos and to really go into how important the rejection factor has been in the courts, because without the courts committing crimes and actually documenting everything through court orders. So for
Right.
example, imagine if you were robbed and then you were sent a bill from the criminal for the damage he did for his burglar tools.
It's
That's exactly what this is.
so many of your situations are like that.
So I basically had my house robbed, and a burglar sent me in a really nice letterhead how much I owe him for the burglar tools, the gas that he used to come to my house, and the medical bill for straining his back for the amount of gold that he was able to take. So those 3 things.
Physical therapy.
Physical therapy, I have to pay for, like, there's a workers' comp claim, and an attorney contacted me on behalf of this criminal that broke in. So Your Honor, that's exactly what happened. If you could disprove me, I will take this video down. But this video will continue to stay up until you show me some evidence that anything I've said so far has been not true. You understand?
Yeah.
You know what my son hates when I do? He like this thing.
I would hate
When
if
we-
we did that too.
I know, I do this like piano thing when I listen to certain songs. There's like a face that I make that I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna save for Halloween. Self-awareness, right?
Cringe dad.
Cringe dad. So I am a really cringy dad because I believe that you only have X amount of days to be a dad, and if you are not taking advantage of every single one of those dads, you're gonna live in a big days. Dads.
If you're take advantage of dads.
Dude, I am fucking dad abuse. I get so abused by my kids. Boys, when you get older and you realize how horribly you spoke to me and how difficult it was for me to be the person I really want to be, because I can't just keep sending you to your rooms no matter how cool of a space I made for you guys. Boys, I put everything in there. So that you could just say, like, yeah, I don't want my phone. So, all right, but Drake, Pierce, like, bottom line is, these YouTube videos, everybody knows how important they are, especially in documenting the process. I wanted to say something. How much time do we have left? I wanted to say something. I have created a situation where I simply cannot lose. Please let me explain. If the criminals continue to get away with what they have gotten away with, and my sentient algorithm known as Casper is able to be launched, I have proven my entire case, and the business will be a rapid success because it is a true story about a man who was robbed of absolutely everything, and rather than failing, he grew out of the ashes, at which point I will make the money and come back and get you. If you give me my properties back, I will self-fund this entire venture within a few weeks, and I'm able to then come back and get you again. So it doesn't matter how many times or court orders you continue to write that are factually inaccurate, unlawful, illegal, and go completely against every law that supports you getting a paycheck. I will still continue to grow and win. My name is Dan Reeses, and how many seconds do we have left?
1 minute and 6 seconds.
Man, Jamie, what do you got to add to this? I just spent 21 minutes straight talking.
What do I want to add? Nothing. I'm excited. I'm hard at work.
Would you like to tell the judge to stop and to wake up, and all the judges?
I think that we've
I've
asked
already
this
replaced a couple of
numerous
judges.
times to stop, to listen, to pay attention, to just
Yeah.
hear you out.
You don't need to hear me out. I've already spoken. No one needs to hear me out. It's time for action. It's time for people to actually do their jobs. There's only so much bullshit that you yourself can invent. Eventually, the truth comes out, which is really today.
Good.
Is that good?
Yeah.
All right, my name is Dan Reeses, and I'll be right back because I have a couple of other things that I really want to say.